everybody. It's June 11th, 2025 when I'm making this video, and the reason why I'm talking about the date at the beginning of the video is because this video is about current market trends in the real estate market in Panama, and obviously those trends will change with time. So this is relevant for now, but in 1 month, 2 months, 6 months from now, obviously this could be a very different real estate situation. So it's important to know when we're talking about this. As you do your research, which is probably why you're watching this video, is you're researching the real estate market, and obviously it's important to now. So just a quick introduction. My name's Ken Norton. I'm the owner of Panama Properties in Panama, and I'm also a real estate sales advisor for the company as well. We are a licensed real estate company in Panama, and we have in-house broker with a full license that all of our transactions go through, and I help her as the administration and sales advisor for the company. So that being said, what we're going to talk about today is the current real estate market and the fact that it's currently a very strong buyer's market for Panama, which is a very big benefit for those wishing to relocate, invest, have part-time vacation home, or come and go as digital nomads, which is a trend that we're also seeing. So I get calls daily from people asking what the market is, people doing research, trying to find out if it's a good time to buy, a good time to sell, or where they should be in the current real estate market in Panama. Obviously, a lot of the information that we have here is a bit fragmented. So that's why I think doing videos like this, giving you the information that you need, and then hopefully with that information, if you're interested, you'll come to Panama Properties when you're searching for a decent property to buy or invest in Panama. So as I mentioned, it is a buyer's market. It's been a buyer's market, I think, since about the beginning of 2024. That doesn't mean that we're a weak market. In my opinion, what this means is that we've done a bit of a reset from 2023, where we saw a real boom in the market and prices did get a little bit inflated post pandemic. And we saw things moving extremely fast. We saw prices jump up high. And I think right now we're into more of what I call a reset to normalization in the prices, and a normalization to what the market traditionally is in Panama, which is definitely a slower market than most North American markets that we've seen. So there's a few reasons for this, and I'm going to speak in big generalities, as the market here is very fragmented. I always say Panama has about 161 microclimates when it comes to the different environments between the mountains and the beaches and the valleys. And we have almost as many different real estate markets. So it's hard to talk about every single market in one video. And I'm talking about overall in general in Panama, about the overall market here. But in general, we are seeing a buyer's market, and that trend has continued for about the last year and a half. So one of the reasons for this is in the more popular areas of Panama, such as Panama City, Coronado, those areas, there's definitely been an oversupply. And economics 101 teaches us that supply and demand is the basic fundamentals of all economics and all markets. And they just keep on building here, which is great, because when we hit a higher market, there's no lack of inventory. But right now there's a little bit of oversupply of inventory within the real estate market, and it's definitely helped to keep prices more attractive on the buyer side of things, and kept things more affordable over the last year and a half. So some estimates, and the thing is we don't have the data that we have in North America or Europe on what the real estate markets actually sit at. We don't have quite the solid numbers because it's a small market here. It's a fragmented market here. But some estimates say that there's more than 4,000 unsold units sitting in the market, especially in the higher end condo development sides of things. And the luxury market throughout the whole country sits between 8,000 and 15,000. Now, I personally don't know exactly how accurate those numbers are, because we don't have the data tracking that they have in, the more organized MLS systems that, for example, America has, or Canada is basically one MLS system, which makes everything very easy to track. So they do keep on building. Investors, developers do see the opportunities to keep on building, so they do keep on building because units do keep on selling, but with a little bit more of a supply, it does keep the prices down. With these buyer's market, from 2023 to now, we've seen anywhere from a 10 to 25% drop in where prices were at the end of 2023. Which, you know, people that I think are still making money on the homes, they're just not seeing the appreciation on the resale market that maybe they're getting back out at maybe what they paid 5 years ago. And developers are just having to adjust on their pricing models, their offerings, the size of the units, things like that. So, you know, not year on year, but year from the end of 2023, we're seeing anywhere from a 10 to 25% drop, which in my opinion keeps things a little bit more realistic and a little bit more affordable, which is a lot of the reasons why people come to Panama. I get a lot of questions often from potential buyers that keep an eye on the market before they make their moves. And they say, oh, you know, I've seen that place sit on the market for 3 months, so now the sellers must be desperate to get out. That's not how things work in this market, okay? The average sale for a resale can be up to a year if it's under 500,000, and if it's over 500,000 or approaching on the $1 million mark, sometimes it sits on the market for 3 years, and that's normal in this current market, okay? So, you know, we're used to back in a lot of markets in North America, especially, where we see, you know, you put your house on the market, 10 days, you know, there's a bidding war and it's gone, or other stories like that. Panama, we're mainly dealing with a cash market in Panama, not a finance market, especially for, you know, for expats that come in. Obviously, Panamanians are financing through bank mortgages for the most part, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. But when you're dealing primarily from the expat side of things on a cash market, it's not so easy to just, you know, find buyers that come in with 700, 800 or $1.5 million cash. It takes a long time to find that cash buyer. So places do sit longer. It's normal here, and in current buyer's market, it's even more normal, okay? So that's something that I think is really important for potential buyers coming from out of country to understand. You can't come in, call a guy like me, say, oh, I've been watching that property, it's been on the market for 3 years, I'm gonna lowball the offer. Because lots of times the sellers don't accept that, and it's offensive sometimes. I mean, you can always try, but the normal sales cycle here is 12 months. Going back to what I was talking about on the Panamanian side of things, interest rates, we have seen a climb in the interest rates over the last 12 months. Some banks are still offering certain Panamanians as low as 3.5%, but your average interest rates that you're seeing on a lot of mortgages for second or third homes are as high as 8%. So a lot of Panamanians now in the local market are anywhere between 4.5% to 7% tends to be the average interest rates being offered by a lot of the banks, because the banks are not standardized here. There is no central bank, so the banks can set their own rates based on what they figure they can get on lending money. Also, a lot of banks here aren't money lending focused. They're more interested in holding the money and doing other stuff with the money than lending the money. It's a very, very different, less aggressive, more conservative banking culture in Panama than what we're used to in North America. And their priority is not always making money on mortgages. It's more about making sure that if they're going to lend money, it's to a secure borrower who has the ability to service that debt over than what it is on taking the risk. They're not a very, very risk-taking banking culture that we have here, okay? This all being said, this does not mean that Panama's in any type of economic problems, okay? Again, it comes down to more of an oversupply in a lot of the markets here than it does to Panama's economic problems. Panama's seen very low inflation rates compared to a lot of the rest of the world over the last 5 years. It's averaged around 2.5% on inflation. And we've seen anywhere from 4.6 to 5.5% increases in the GDP. So economically, Panama's a really, really good country to invest into with the low inflation, high increases in GDP. those economic factors from a country to look at for relocation or investment are ideal. They really are ideal. You can park your money into a Panamanian bank, into a term deposit, and quite often they'll pay you out anywhere between 3.5 to 5%, depending on the term that you commit to. So, the banking, because they're conservative here, because they don't take a lot of risks, the fundamentals and the economics of Panama are looking good. So this buyer market in real estate is not based on bad economics of the country. It's more based on the real estate market within itself. Okay. There's different types of obviously real estate investments here. You got your condos, you got your resales, you got your single families, you got your beach properties. You got, rental investments now. We're seeing a lot more units being built specifically for rental investments with managed options. And I'm going to do another video on that later on. I don't want to get into that. We're talking more about market fundamentals and market trends right now. But there's a lot of opportunities to see anywhere between 5 and 9% returns on some of these units that are going in now with managed solutions, which is something we didn't have a lot of even a few years ago in Panama. So those are kind of where we're sitting at. It's a buyer's market. It's a great time to buy. The thing that I've learned from being in the real estate industry now in Panama for a few years is that these things and these market trends can turn like that. Okay, so today it could be a buyer's market, and next month we could be into a hot seller's market. All of a sudden, some news comes out back in America. Everybody wants to be in Panama all of a sudden, or the economics of one of the foreign markets that we deal with, where a lot of buyers come from, and all of a sudden the trends change. Or Panama has a big announcement, and all of a sudden a lot of the Panamanians are economically even more sound than they are now, and they start investing more and more and more in their second, their third, their fourth properties. And we're into a seller's market again, and everybody's trying to jump on that bandwagon. So right now we're in the low side of prices. It's the time to buy. That's what I say to people. It is the time to buy now. A month, 6 months, 1 year from now, this could be extremely different. Okay, so it is really, really a golden window of opportunity now. If you're thinking about a Panama change, it's a good time to do it. Even for Canadians, I'm Canadian, even for Canadians with the dollar being a little bit lower now, because the prices are low, it offsets where we're losing on the exchange. Okay. And the other thing about it is the Canadian dollar is probably not going to get stronger. So holding off, waiting for it to get a whole lot stronger, I don't know if that's the right choice from the Canadian side of point of view either. It's a good opportunity to try and get into a buyer's market. Any questions? My phone number, my email, my everything is plastered all over my webpage, www.panama-properties.com. You can reach me there. You can reach me through WhatsApp. Let me know. Reach out to me if you got any questions on where we're sitting at buying trends today, tomorrow, when you're thinking about coming in. I'm always happy to advise, to educate, to make potential buyer clients comfortable with where they are. Also, it's, I think, really important that if you're looking at a property and you don't know the agent that's involved in selling the property, feel free to reach out to me. I'm very happy to hook you up with one of our qualified sales advisors, our in-house licensed brokers, to help you from a buyer side of you to make sure that you're protected, that you're buying into a property that is buildable or sellable or titled, to make sure that we do all the due diligence for you. Don't rush into anything too quickly. Let us help you in figuring out where you need to be, what you're getting into, and we're going to ask all the questions to the seller agent to make sure that you, our client, is being protected. Even though it's a great time to buy, we want to make sure that you're doing the right thing and you're making the smart choices. Okay, so I look forward to hearing from you. Any questions, reach out to me. We're always available to have a chat. Take care now. Have a good day.